How many times do we make a change or we're getting ready to make a change and we've thought about it and we've thought about it, that paralysis by analysis, and it never happens. So in this episode, we're going to talk about why it's important to go before you are ready. Stick with us. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. I am your host, John Espinosa. To the Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everyone, John here. Welcome to the Leading Leaders podcast. So today you'll notice background's a little bit different. We're in Orlando. We are preparing for Hurricane Milton that's coming in, and I'm just trying to find a spot where I could record. So maybe a little bit of background noise, but that's okay because our theme here is just to go do it messy, and it fits right in with the podcast today. Go before you are ready. I had plenty of excuses today not to record this. I wasn't ready. I'm sitting in a hotel lobby right by the elevators. I made a commitment to myself whenever I started this podcast at the beginning of the year. And that was a commitment to you as well. That was a commitment that I would come on and I would tell you how it is. I'd share my experiences with you. And the main thing that I want you all to take away from this particular episode is the fact that we wait until things sometimes need to be 100% certain before we move to action, and the time passes us by. That moment of opportunity passes us by. So today I am going to talk about why it's important to go before you are ready, and I'm going to share some examples from my life about times when I missed those opportunities, but I was also forced into other go before ready opportunities, and why that's important for you to not wait. So first of all, you all have heard my story. I became a parent at 20. I had 2 kids under the age of 2. I met my wife and she had our beautiful son. He was a year, we dated, and our daughter came shortly thereafter. So at 20 years old, and for those young parents out there, you know what I'm talking about, but it was a challenge. It was something that I had to grow into, right? I went before I was ready. It wasn't planned, so I was propelled into that situation to be a parent. But I have taken that and it has created this drive, this commitment in me to make sure that I go before I'm ready in all situations of my life. Now, am I perfect? I'm not perfect. Trust me, there are things that I overthink, but now I have the awareness to stop myself, give a timeout, mental timeout, right? Check my story, check my identity. We talked about in the last episode, the things that we tell ourselves creates an identity, and that identity, our subconscious, begins to believe it, and that's who we become. So in this particular example, I had to believe that I was a good parent, that I was able to parent 2 kids under the age of 2, still go to school, still go to work. Thank God I had a great family base there where I was located in Oklahoma City. They helped out tremendously. We wouldn't have gotten through those times if it wasn't for our family. So I had plenty of help, but I also had to step up as a father and as a husband and as a parent. I had to step up. I have had to go before I was ready, and I did it messy, and we learned along the way. I made plenty of mistakes. I tell my 2 oldest kids nowadays, as we got a third one, a younger one that's in the house, and he gets to go on trips with us. He gets to travel. You all know we love to travel. One of the things that he gets to do that the other 2 didn't get to do, the other 2 are always, pointing the finger and saying, hey, why does Connor get to go on trips? Why does he get to do the things that we wouldn't do? Because our vacations and our trips, they were to lakes. If you've ever been to lakes in Oklahoma City, around that area, it's red dirt. You have a bathing suit full of that particular lake because it gets stained red. So where I'm going with this is it's important for us to realize that there are situations in our life that we'll never be 100% certain of. So go before you're ready. Take that leap. How many times in your life, and you can probably name them, you can write them down, that you had the opportunity to go before you were ready and you didn't take that chance. You didn't take that opportunity and it passed you by, and now you're looking back and you're saying, man, you're almost kicking yourself because you didn't take that opportunity. You didn't go before you were ready. And now you're in the spot where you may not be able to get that back. If you're lucky, you will. So I'm going to talk about 3 things that have helped me kickstart myself to go before I was ready. The first one, in this positive negative mindset, it goes back really to the identity that we're creating. But part of that is moving yourself into a neutral mindset. So this neutral mindset, again, if you have tried something and you have failed, no matter how positive that you can be sometimes, you can't get past the reality of that failure. So moving into a neutral mindset gets you out of that negative mindset that you're not good enough, you'll never get there, and puts you into that neutral space. So you begin to accept the past as it happened. It was real. So I accept that I tried this and I failed. However, I'm going to try it again. And in that neutral mindset, it will just be enough to kick you into action, because if you start thinking too positive, you don't believe yourself. And that's the other thing that the neutral mindset accomplishes, is it builds self-trust. It builds trust in our thoughts. It builds trust in ourselves so that we can begin to move into action, which that's all Go Before You're Ready is about, is moving into action. The other thing that neutral mindset allows us to do is baseline our thoughts. So it gives us a starting point, right? We got to figure out what day one is, get going, and then just stay consistent. Don't miss 2 days in a row. So that baseline is the foundation for us to get going, for us to go before we are ready. So the first thing, neutral mindset. One of the things that I had to do when I started this podcast was I had to move myself into a neutral mindset to make sure that the things that I was trying to do were accomplished. I don't know how many podcasts are out there on leadership. I don't know how many podcasts are out there for people to watch. I'm still at a point now where some days I question myself. I'm not growing fast enough, right? Is this worth it? Is anybody listening? And so those are those negative thoughts. If I move myself way over on the positive side, or I want to get to 1,000 listeners, whatever that looks like, and I don't get there, again, it's that self-defeat. And so now those thought stacking, it just allows me, it's easier to thought stack. However, a neutral mindset, if I just accept the past as reality, we're learning, I'm growing, you all are growing, you're sharing this podcast, you're spending time on yourselves to be better. And it just takes that one person that comments, or I run into and they mention that whatever podcast they listen to, it helped them. It helped them do something that they would not have done if they hadn't listened to that. So that keeps me going. So one, neutral mindset. Move into that neutral thinking. The second one is remember what you do next determines your future. So that's action. It's not how you feel. We get a lot of feelings. We get into our head around the feelings of we're not good enough, around the feelings of maybe even we are good enough and we're confident, but we never take action. I've met a lot of confident people that never take action. So that feeling of confidence, while it's good to have that thought, well, it's good to have those feelings. What you do next determines your future. If you never move to action, if you do not go before you are ready, you could have the greatest idea, maybe a new startup, maybe starting a podcast, maybe it's a business venture, whatever that looks like. If you feel confident about that, but you don't do any action, it's never going to come to fruition. So the next thing, do something, move to action, go before you're ready. Going back to as a parent, I could have felt sorry for myself and I could have not accepted that responsibility to have those 2 kids, to still have to go get a degree, to finish school. I not only finished an undergrad, I decided I was crazy enough that I went and finished a graduate degree as well with those 2 kids and a third on the way. So again, I didn't let myself get too much into my feelings of self-pity, especially because our friends, they didn't have kids. They were out having a good time. They were able to take trips. They were able to go wherever they wanted to, whenever they wanted to. We had to plan around our family, but now I'm on the opposite side of that. So those friends and family that started late, now I'm in my 40s and I have the opportunity to travel and to do things that I didn't have the opportunity to do then. And oh, by the way, I got money to do it now as well. I didn't get too much in my feelings and move myself to action on those important dates. And the third one that we're going to talk about is you have to learn how to support yourself unconditionally. It goes back to that self-talk, that thought stacking, meaning if you do not support yourself, how can you create that support network around you? Because both are important, but it starts with you. It starts with supporting yourself unconditionally, no matter what anybody tells you, including yourself. You continue to go before you are ready. So it took me 2 years to push record because I did not support myself unconditionally. I went back to, I'm not good enough. There's plenty of people out there. This will never work. I'll never even get 1 subscriber, much less the wonderful subscribers in the Go Be Great community that we are growing now. Would have never happened if I did not support myself unconditionally. So those 3 things are the 3 pillars that I have used. They're tried and true. I know that they will work because I have used them. 1, move yourself to a neutral thought. Accept the past as real, and then tell yourself, I can do it. It builds that self-trust. We're not over-exaggerating things. That will help. The second thing, remember what you do is your future, not your feelings. It's not how you feel, it's what you do. And the third thing, learn to support yourself unconditionally. I believe in you, but you need to believe in yourself and support it in any circumstance that may meet resistance, because you will meet resistance. Growth is all about the resistance that we experience in our life. I hope those 3 things help you to get going before you're ready. I believe in you. Go be great. I'll talk to you later. Bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor, click on that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great. Talk to everyone later.